Have you ever wondered if there was a way to make your cardboard projects stronger? Or have you ever wished that you could have a piece of cardboard just be a little more rigid or a little bit more stiff? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you 10 ways to make your cardboard projects much stronger so they don't break. Tip number 1 is to use wooden reinforcements. So what I have back here is a cardboard shield. Back here is where the magic happened. I made the shield. It was too weak out of just the cardboard. So I had all of these wood scraps on it, and I took those, simply used hot glue to put those on. Those seriously reinforced the cardboard in the critical areas where it tended to bend. Now, I do have an 11th bonus tip for you coming up at the end of this live stream. Just stick around for that. It's not really like a technique to make your cardboard project stronger, so that's why I didn't make the official list, but it's something you're going to want to pay attention to. Tip number 2 is to use pins or dowels and stuff like that in your cardboard project. What we can do with this is stick it through the corrugations of our cardboard. So we've got the corrugations here, and we could stab it down this way, but that's kind of loose, so maybe if you've got like a full-on dowel, it would work out, but this is not my preferred direction. I like to go sideways against the corrugation, and I'll just stab it through each layer as I go down. You got to be a little bit careful because sometimes it gets caught and it rips a big hole in your cardboard. And you can see here this method doesn't always work out super perfectly. We got a little bit of a lump here on our cardboard where the pin didn't go through perfectly straight. It's kind of coming out of one edge there on the back, but it's definitely stronger than before, and it's a lot harder to bend. Tip number 3, use a hot glue gun for the fraying edges of your cardboard. Right here, I've got a model I made a long time ago out of a phone stand, and the edges of it are really starting to come apart. I've got my piece of cardboard, I got my hot glue gun, and I'm gonna just run the glue gun along the edge of the cardboard, and what this is gonna do is it's gonna jam the glue down inside all of those corrugations and create a much more durable edge. If you really want this to like be a little cleaner, you can lick your hand and get it a little like wet, and then you can actually touch the cardboard a couple times before it all dries up, and your fingers won't stick to it. Obviously, use at your own risk. Sometimes this is not gonna look very nice because you got glue on it, but it can definitely help prevent it from fraying. Tip number 4 is to use extra beads of hot glue. When we're gluing 2 pieces of cardboard together, we want to, first of all, glue them together normally. So I like to sort of take it and put it along this piece of cardboard that I'm going to be gluing on, like if I'm doing a 90-degree angle like this, because I know that this is going to be perfectly straight rather than having to guess by gluing on here. Now I'm going to squeeze that down. If I want to make it really strong though, I'm going to add an extra bead. So I'm going to squeeze out from the glue gun. I don't want to do too much, but I'm just creating like a cocked bead along the edge, and that's adding this sort of like side connection to my cardboard. We've got this angled bead of glue all the way down that edge, and we can do the same thing on the other side to get that really strong. Tip number 5 is we can fold our cardboard, and it makes it a heck of a lot stronger. This gun, themed from The Mandalorian Season 1, is made with a folded cardboard here at the end. Now, when I folded this cardboard, there's quite a bit of tension kind of in this piece of cardboard, and it's also a triangle, so I've got another piece glued on the inside. You can kind of see it inside there. The triangle shape in geometry is the most basic geometric shape, and it's super stable because you can't change its shape without changing the length of any of its sides. So when I have a triangle of cardboard, unless it gets actually crushed, none of the corners are gonna like suddenly bend and change shape. And the folded cardboard is really strong as well because it's got this support in like different directions, and I don't have to worry about that glue bond coming apart. Tip number 6 is to double layer your cardboard. I'm gonna give you a couple examples. First of all, my cardboard shield right here, made out of like 2 layers of like a full-on cardboard box, and then like some extra layers here in the center. Oh, it's actually 3 layers of a full cardboard box. One more example of double layer cardboard. This is a like book holder that I use all the time, like basically every day. It's taken some abuse, but these hooks on the edges, 3 layers of cardboard because they got to hold up books inside this book holder. And now tip number 7 is grain orientation. So cardboard has a grain. I'm sure you know this. I was already talking about it. You've got that grain right there. Now, things can be weaker or stronger based on the direction the grain is facing. So in this trooper, like stormtrooper gun that I have right here, all of the ribs along the barrel have the grain pointing to the outside. And typically, to make things stronger, especially if you've got something thin, you want like as many grain pieces going through it as possible. So right here, I've got all of the grains going through. I don't want one long piece of grain. I want the grain going as many like separate little ridges as possible going through there. With this foam stick, it's got all of those like reinforced folds, but what I did is it'd actually be stronger if I had the grain oriented in the other direction. So this made the folds really easy to make because I could just fold it along the grain. Then the disadvantage is that it also likes to buckle along the grain. Cardboard naturally buckles along the grain. So like here, I've got this piece. I can bend it easily along one of those grain pieces. It'll bend, but it's gonna have a much harder time bending this way until I kind of just like crush the whole thing, because there's no good spot for it to bend along there. If I had done that with this, it wouldn't have bent so easily along these sections where it just sort of found a natural bending place. And that's what I'm talking about with grain orientation. Tip number 8 is adding ribs. So maybe it's too much work to add an entire extra piece of cardboard like I did for that cardboard shield. So what you can do is add ribs. We've got ribs going along here. They're alternated at 90 degrees from the corrugation in the normal piece. And then along the front, I got triple layer cardboard that I glued all together, and that's to support this front edge from like falling apart. So we can add ribs to our cardboard to help improve its strength. Tip number 9, build around something. Sometimes our projects happen to be just the perfect shape that we can use some other item and build around it to make stuff stronger. So right here, the Mandalorian gun, the center of this is actually all PVC pipe, and that keeps this entire barrel super rigid. I just use all of the details are made out of cardboard and paper. And then back inside here, I added a piece of PVC to the inside of the barrel where I noticed that it was too weak and it was starting to buckle. I did this afterwards, but the PVC pipe here was really well integrated and everything's just built around it. And now the gun is super strong along that barrel and nothing really bends it. Our last tip, tip number 10, before we get into those bonus tips, is to coat your cardboard. Here, I have a fidget spinner. You can coat them in hot glue. So this entire fidget spinner is coated in like layers of hot glue that I put on there and like flattened out with the glue gun. I went around the edges and now everything is pretty strong, but it's all coated in hot glue. It's still kind of flexible. That has kept this from like falling apart or fraying at all. You can also coat things in super glue, and I've done that a couple times. Super glue hardens and it gets super hard. We're about to get into those bonus tips, but before we get there, I have a question for you. Boom. How do you make your cardboard projects strong? Just share your methods in the comments below. If there's anything that I haven't mentioned, let me hear about it. Sometimes I learn things from you guys in the comments. I'm scrolling through there. There's all kinds of things that you share with me that I'm like, boom, had no idea about that. While you're typing that out, here are our bonus tips. Number 1, use thicker cardboard. In that Mandalorian gun, the tip at the end is really thick folded cardboard, but some of the details are thin pieces. Then they also make double layer cardboard. So if you wanted something even stronger, they'll use a certain type of cardboard here. That'll be like a thicker version, and then often they'll have like a thin version right here. What this does too is corrugation is usually the weak point. So the corrugations don't line up, and that makes it a lot harder for it to bend and break. If you want to watch a video I have on different thicknesses of cardboard like I was talking about, learn all about different thicknesses, which ones are stronger, which ones are weaker, check out this video right here. And there's another video right here from YouTube. It's the video they think is best for you. God bless.